Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video. Jason is framed for Cyrus murder today on General Hospital. Sonny offers his support to Laura. Alexis learns who killed Sam and why. And Brooklyn tells her mother she informed Chase about her baby. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At the Quartermain mansion, Brooklyn lets her mom know that she told Chase about her baby. Lois asks what made her choose to tell him. Brooklyn fills her in about the romantic night they had, and her husband was being so vulnerable and honest about how he felt he was robbing her of the experience of having a baby. She had to be honest with him, even if she risked losing him. Brooklyn says Chase was so understanding, but she didn't tell him that Dante was the father. She knew it would kill him, and then he'd have to keep the secret from Dante. Lois agrees, not telling him that part was the right choice. Brooklyn feels like she can put the past behind her now. Ava and Rick wake up in her bed together. He says it's a new day. She agrees and feels like a weight has been lifted with this custody trial behind her. Rick gets dressed and ponders that Sonny isn't someone who settles, he fights. So he wonders what has changed with him. Ava doesn't know, but their trial prep wasn't all wasted time. They kiss. Dante, Christina, and Molly meet Alexis at her office. Dante tells them they know who killed Sam, and it was Cyrus. Alexis says, now we need to know why. Dante explains Cyrus attacked Liz and Lucky, and she got him talking. Cyrus believed he was doing God's will by releasing patients from their suffering. The Davis women ask why Sam. Dante explains Cyrus saw Sam as interfering with the divine plan for Lulu. Alexis asks Dante to tell her that they've arrested that monster. Dante tells them they don't know where Cyrus is, unfortunately. At the hospital, Laura thanks Felicia for everything she's been doing for her family. Felicia knows her family has been on a roller coaster lately. Laura wishes she had never crossed paths with Cyrus. Suddenly, Martin appears. Felicia leaves Laura and Martin to talk. Martin asks about Lucky, and she tells him he's stable and expected to recover fully. He's sorry it took him so long to arrive, but the PCPD was at his door this morning. He found out what their brother did, and now he's missing. Martin doesn't know how he could do something like this to his own nephew. Laura breaks the news that he also tried to kill Lulu, and more than once. Martin feels sick and blames himself. He wanted to believe Cyrus had changed, that his religious epiphany was real. Laura says in a way it was. Laura explains Lulu was one of Cyrus' first victims. He was visiting her for months and injecting her with drugs, which caused her liver to fail. She shouldn't have barred him, but she wanted to believe he was doing good work. Cyrus almost killed both of her children. She goes on to tell him that Cyrus killed a lot of patients at Turning Woods, Sam McCall, and Dex Heller. Martin wishes he had seen it, and that with his brother so upset he'd been barred from GH. But Laura says they both wanted to see the best in him. She says Cyrus claimed he was on a mission from God to release trapped souls. Martin recalls when he fought Cyrus over the care of his mother, and Cyrus wanted to release her from her pain, but he stopped him. He thinks Cyrus turned his mission from his mom to others, and this will kill his mother. He notes it gets worse as he made a complaint against Jason with the PCPD for threatening Cyrus in public, and it turns out Cyrus was the monster. Laura says if they don't find Cyrus, then they are all in danger. Martin hates to say this about his own brother, but maybe if Jason took care of him, then they are all better off. At the station, Anna calls someone and leaves a message for them to come to the station, and they know what it's about. Chase asks if she has a lead on Cyrus. She says only one, Jason. Chase asks if she has evidence, but she doesn't. It's the lack of evidence that is troubling, and finding that cabin so clean made her think it was Jason. Chase recalls Martin said Jason made the threat that nobody would find his body, so for Jason to follow through is reckless. Anna would normally agree, but his son is involved. She says that cabin was spotless, and it screams of a professional job. At Bobby's, Sonny subtly asks if he was involved in what happened to Cyrus. Jason says if someone killed Cyrus, it wasn't him. He considered taking Cyrus out, but he has to think about what is best for Danny now. Trina enters to speak with Joss, who she hasn't heard from since last night. Joss says she lost her phone last night and hasn't had a chance to buy a new one. Trina senses something is up and asks what really happened last night. Joss claims she went to Dex's place and looked at old photos of them. She got upset and threw the phone against the wall and broke it. Trina knew she should have stayed home with her, but Joss insists she's okay. Joss asks about Kai and her date. She says it was just okay, and now that she knows Joss is okay too, she's heading over to Ava's. Gio arrives and chats with Joss. He's waiting to grab a bite with Sunny, but he's busy right now talking to Jason. He takes the chance to apologize for Emma's behavior last night. Joss says she and Emma have a strange history, but she has been handing out her flyers. Gio thanks her and will let Emma know. Sunny calls Gio over, and Jason goes to the counter. Joss tells Jason she needs advice, but wants to talk somewhere private. Jason's phone rings, and it's Anna, who tells him she needs him at the station now. Joss says her thing can wait, so he says he'll catch her later. Sunny explains to Gio that he talked with Lois, and she mentioned the music program's trip to see the Chicago Orchestra. He gives him an envelope to pay for the trip. After all Sunny's done for him, Gio can't take it, but Sunny insists. Sunny says he's got to get going, and they say goodbye. When Trina arrives at Ava's, she can see she is on cloud 9. Trina tells her about her date with Kai and how wonderful it was. But she feels bad for Joss, who has lost Dex. She is still grieving, like she did for Spencer. Ava notes she's talking about her grief in the past tense. Kai meets with his friend Quinn at the surf lodge. He thanks him for getting tickets to the Savoy, but it turns out they haven't in any time as Trina's dad owns the place. Quinn can't believe he took Trina, and he thought Trina would stay away from him after he called her out for distracting Kai and leading to his injury. Kai tells Quinn he was playing the best games of his life up to that final game, and his accident was just that. Quinn tells Kai he sounds like someone else, and he doesn't seem to care about football or the team. Quinn notes Kai hasn't been the same since he's been hanging out with Trina. Kai says he still loves the team and football, but this injury makes him realize he needs to think about what else is out there for him. He says if it wasn't for Trina, he'd have lost his mind these past few weeks. He tells Quinn not to speak to Trina again on his behalf. Back at Ava's, Trina tells her friend she's not ready for something serious with Kai yet. Her phone rings and she smiles, seeing it's Kai. Trina answers, and Kai asks if she's free as he has something he wants to show her. Sunny arrives at the hospital and finds Laura sitting alone. He asks if she wants company, and she invites him to sit. He figured it would be a good time to come by and check on her and Lucky. Sunny notes Lucky is a fighter, and he gets his strength from her and his stubbornness from both his parents. Laura says Luke would be happy they were together for Lucky. Sunny says he'll always be here for Lucky and for her. In the PCPD's interrogation room, Anne asks Jason why he took out Cyrus after everything they talked about last night. Jason says he didn't. He explains that last night when he left here, he went to Sam's grave, and then to see Drew. He wanted to take Cyrus out, but Alexis and Sasha begged him not to, and she asked him not to as a favor to her. Jason asks why she thought it was him. She explains they found the cabin where Cyrus was hiding out, and there was no evidence left behind. The cabin is spotless. She wonders maybe Cyrus was never there. Jason notes if the place was that clean, then it sounds like someone killed Cyrus and wiped the place of evidence. Anne asks, if not you, who? Dante arrives back at the station, and he and Chase get the forensics report back on the cabin. Chase goes into the interrogation room and reveals that only 2 hairs were found at the cabin, and they are Jason's. Back at the Quartermains, Brooklyn tells her mom that Chase has offered her to find her son if she wants to. Just then, Gio walks in. He lets Lois know Sunny gave him the money for the Chicago trip, and he really appreciates all of their support. They are more than just cousins to him. Brooklyn tells Gio he deserves the best, and they embrace. Lois appears worried. Rick shows up at Alex's office to drop off an envelope for Diane. He can see something and says he's not leaving until he tells him. She tells him that Cyrus killed her daughter. Rick says he's sorry, and they embrace. Outside Bobby's, Molly and Christina arrive to get a drink. Christina feels the system has failed them and their baby and almost destroyed their relationship. Molly notes they had something to do with that last part. Christina says the system also failed Sam, and even if Cyrus is brought in, the system may not work. It didn't work for Ava after all. Christina passes on getting a drink and walks off. On the next General Hospital, Drew warns Nina to get on board, or she loses Willow. Kai takes Trina to an art gallery. She tells him, "See what happens when you take a chance." Jordan tells Portia she's having a hard time trusting the news herself. Selena tells Brad that his debt will be paid one way or another. Carly says to Brennan, "If this is some kind of a fling, it has to stop." Jason insists to Anna he's never been to Cyrus' cabin, and he can prove it.